All right. Good morning, guys. So, in our last session, we have discussed about VPC. So, any questions for me on VPC, guys? No questions? Are we good so far? Response at all? Okay. So, here in today's session, we are going to start with RDS. So, RDS stands for Relational Database. Relational Database Service. So, um, So basically, we can take an EC2 instance and we can install our required database within that EC2 instance and we can deliver that. But whenever you are using such type of option, so for example, you have an EC2 instance. So what we are going to get, we are going to get till operating system level. On top of this operating system, whatever you want to install, you can install it and you can deliver it. But when coming to this mechanism, depending on EC2 mechanism, so what happens on top of this, we need to download the database and we need to purchase a license for the database. Then we need to perform the installation. Then who is going to take care about database high availability? We need to configure. Who is going to take care about database backup? We need to configure that, right? So then it will be available for your application. But instead of these all things, we had a service called RDS. In simple, you can treat it as a database as a service. Database as a service. So what exactly database you required? Okay, you required MySQL. Okay, pick MySQL and perform the configuration things. Okay, what is the DB instant type you required? And do you want to enable automated backup? Do you want to enable high availability options? Just ticking. Okay, tick this option, tick this option. Then AWS is going to take care about all those options here. Right. So that is a RDS advantage. See, databases is not a new thing. From ages, we have databases, right? So, but now with this RDS, it got simplified. It got simplified. So that is the advantage with this RDS. So I have a simple slide for this. Let me quickly show you that. RDS. So this is the first one where I have compared. If you are performing like, database in on-premise, what are the things you need to take care? And then if you are running on top of EC2 instance, what are the things? Then if you are depending on RDS, what are the things? I have a slide for that. So this is the image. See, this is database on-premise. You need to take care about everything. Power connectivity, racking and stacking, server maintenance, OS installation, OS patches, DB software installations, database software, and patches. Any latest version came, database backups, high availability, scaling, and application optimization. So whenever it is database in on-premise, you need to take care about everything here. Whenever you're using EC2 instance, so what happened till OS installation? See, we don't get any option to install the operating system, right? But on top of that operating system, we are going to get OS patches that we need to take care. Then on top of that, we are going to have software installations, database installations, DB software installations, DB patches, database backup. We manually need to configure all these things. But when coming to database in RDS, these all things AWS is going to take care. Only you just need to make it available for our application optimization. That's it, right? So that is a comparison between on-premise on EC2 and in RDS. Right. So this RDS service supports 6 relational database engines. RDS supports only 6 relational database engines. So those are Amazon Aurora. This is Amazon's own proprietary database and one of the widely used one, MySQL, MS SQL, Microsoft SQL, and PostgreSQL, MariaDB. So then Oracle database. Right. So again, in MySQL, we have in my Microsoft SQL, we have Enterprise Edition, Standard Edition, different licensing options we have here. So, but these are the 6 relational database engines RDS supports. RDS supports below 6 relational database engines. Apart from this, for example, you decided to run MongoDB. Can we choose this RDS for the MongoDB? Definitely not. You cannot. Right. So in such type of options, yeah, you can take an EC2 instance and you can perform whatever you want. Right. So that is an option we have always, that EC2. Right. So along with this, when coming to database point of view, if you want to run NoSQL database service, and it's also serverless architecture, that service name is DynamoDB. When coming to caching layer for this RDS, so caching service for this RDS, so the service name is Elasticache, and this Elasticache supports 2 caching engines. One is memcached, second one is Redis. One is memcached, second one is Redis. So this is a caching service for this RDS, and caching service for DynamoDB is DAX, Dynamodb Accelerator. So DynamoDB Accelerator is a service for caching service for DynamoDB, and we do have another option that migration services. The service name is DMS, Database Migration Service. So when coming to this database migration service, you can migrate on-premise database, or you can migrate database from one DB instance to another DB instance where you need connectivity. That's important. So DMS is a migration service we have here. And when coming to data warehousing solutions, Redshift is a Amazon's data warehousing solution. So at moment we are going to concentrate on this part, then we will go into these remaining things. Right. So when coming to this, so first I'm going to launch one RDS instance. It's going to take some time. So then I will explain you how I launched and what I'm going to do and how I can get connected. And one important thing when coming to real environment, we always run DB instances in private subnets. You can run it in public subnet. You can make it publicly accessible as a yes also. You can make it publicly accessible. You can access the database anywhere from the world. But this is best practice. There is no guarantee or there is no standard rule that we should run only in private subnet. But as I'm mentioning, this is a best practice. So even in your interview also mention that, okay, we run our databases in private subnet. The reason is security. So can someone from internet directly hit this database instance? No, right? So they must have access to that jump server. From that jump server, they need to get credentials of our database server. Then only he can hit the database server. So we are adding some more extra steps to this database, right? But whenever our database is running in private subnet, can that communicate with the public subnet resource, or like, another private subnet resource? Obviously, yes. When all resources are running in the same VPC, they can communicate. That we already know. Okay, so that's why I gave this task to you guys, like, um, run couple of private subnets, couple of public subnets. Now I want you to add two more private subnets here. So I need total 6 subnets. Among the two public subnets, two private subnets, another two private subnets for database layer. I'll show you the diagram today, right? So now I'm navigating to RDS. So here under database, the first one is a RDS. Amazon Relational Database Service makes it easy to set up, operate and scale relational database in the cloud, such as MySQL, Aurora, MariaDB, Oracle. Right. So click on that. Now, here is a DB instances. Do we have any DB instances? No, we haven't launched any database instances. We are going to launch now. So by default, you can have 20 DB instances and allocated size is 100 DB. If you want to increase that, here you have an option. Click here to increase DB instance limit. Okay, so now navigate to databases. So here it is showing databases. Do we have any? No, right? So now click on create database. So now create a database with a single click. We never use that. So we have standard create and easy create. Whenever you are picking easy create, what type of DB engine you require, you need to pick that. For example, you want to launch MySQL, pick that. So then what is the instance size you are going to use it for production, dev or test or free tier. Pick this. What is a DB instance identifier? You can give a name for this. What is a master username and master password? So then click on create database. That's it. We are going to get a database. But we never use this easy create option. Go with the standard create. Go and pick the standard create. So then what type of database you required? So initially I'm going to explain like, MySQL. This is just like a, EC2 instance launch. The launching process is going to be same. Either it is a MySQL or Microsoft SQL or Oracle. The below options are going to be same, right? So I'm going to explain with MySQL, and however I'm going to give a task that where you can test like, MariaDB or MySQL or Oracle. I'll give you that. So now I'm picking MySQL, and it's a MySQL Community Edition. So then every engine, DB engine version is going to have its known issues and limitations. See here, what is the engine version you want to go? So these are all the DB engine versions we have. And generally, we will go -1 or -2. -1 or -2 version is preferable. See, whenever any latest version came, if you are simply picking that latest version and if you are going through that particular version, so you might not know what exactly issue it might lead to, or even if you're facing any issue, there is no proper like, support for that. They also need to do bit R&D and all those things, right? But instead of that, whenever you're using -1 or -2 versions, so what happens, someone might face that issue already. So as it is a old version, even like, MySQL support also, or like whoever provide the support, they also might face that issue. So we can get the solution easily. That is the only logic here. -1 version or -2 version is preferable. So we can go and we can pick whatever the version we require. So if client is requesting a particular version, that you don't have any option to choose this, right? Okay, he specially required like 8.0.23. Yeah, you obviously need to go and pick this. There is no other option. But you can mention we always go with the -1 or -2 versions. And what is a template? I want to go with the free tier. So I'm selecting free tier here. So I'll explain you. A couple of options is going to disable when we select free tier. So I'm going to select free tier here. So then settings, DB instance identifier. What is the name you want to give? So I'm going to call this as a MySQL database. Is the name I'm giving, or my prod database, or my app 1 DB. So this name should be unique for every database. If you already use this, you cannot use same again. So then what is a master username you want to give? So for our EC2 instance, the default username is administrator, right? The default username is administrator. Similarly, for this, my app 1 DB, we are going to get a DB instance and we are going to get connected to that database. But what credentials you are going to use for initial connect? Initially, if you want to connect, you can use this admin as a username and you can get an auto-generated password, or else you can set the password. I'm going to set the password. And my password is Avinash123. So then DB instance class. What is the configuration? As I selected free tier here, so it is going to pick db.t2 micro. So when coming to free tier limitation, we are going to get db.t2 micro, db.t2 micro, and we are going to get 750 hours per month. 750 hours per month we are going to get. db.t2 micro, 750 hours per month we are going to get under free tier limitation. Right? So that means one database engine you can run it for an entire month. So you can terminate and you can use another one. So at moment I'm going to select db.t2 micro. If you need to choose, like whenever you are selecting Deva test environment, it allows us to choose what configuration you required, memory optimized instances, what configuration you required, burstable classes, what configuration you required here. So we do have an option to choose this, but when you are selecting free tier, it won't allow you to choose. By default, it picks db.t2 micro. And whenever you are selecting this production, we have an option called this availability and durability, this feature. So it is going to enable. Don't worry about this is at moment. This we will discuss tomorrow, not today. Okay, so at moment I am selecting free tier only. So then db.t2 micro is picked automatically, and storage. Now we are selecting db.t2 micro. Fine. What is the storage you required for your database? See, we won't get any option to log into OS level. We won't get any option to log into DB instance to see what's happening at OS level. Only option you won't get is, the only option you will get is that you can connect to database and then you can perform whatever you want. So how we can connect? To connect to these databases, we have some GUI tools. We have some UI tools to get connected to these DB engines. Based on the type of database, we have this. So whenever we are using this Amazon Aurora, basically it is MySQL and PostgreSQL compatible one. So whatever the tool you use for MySQL, you can use the tool, or whatever the tool you use for PostgreSQL, same tool you can use. Tools we can use with that. When coming to MySQL, we have a tool called MySQL Workbench. You can install the tool, then you can get connected to it, then you can see what exactly happening at database layer. Microsoft SQL, SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. You can install SQL Server Management Studio to see what exactly happening at DB level. PostgreSQL. When coming to PostgreSQL, the tool name is pgadmin. So you can use pgadmin tool to get connected to it. And when coming to MariaDB, we can use Workbench. Just Workbench is our application name. Then you can use for MariaDB. Oracle database, we can use Oracle Enterprise tool, or one of the widely used one tool is Todd. You can use Todd tool to get connected to this Oracle database. Right. So we must have one of this tool to see what exactly, like, how many databases we have, what is a table, what table we are altering, all those things we need to. Right. So, but remember, we won't get any option to log into OS level. And whatever the size we are specifying here, that size is for database, not for operating system. This is for the database, not for the operating system. Right. So the minimum is 20 GB, maximum is 16 GB. So which one you required, you can pick that. I'm going with the default one, that is a 20 GB. And storage auto scaling. So whenever this 20 GB is full, or whenever 90% is full, it is going to add 10 more percentage of an existing database, or 5 GB of an existing database, existing size of the database. Whichever is higher, that is going to pick. Okay, for example, we have taken 100 GB. Out of this 100 GB, 90 GB, 95 GB is full. So immediately, so which it's going to add 5 GB to that existing one, or else 10% of that existing. So 10%, so it is going to add 10 GB to that. So whenever you're enabling storage auto scaling, then only it happens. Otherwise, manually you need to take some downtime and you need to do that. That is a storage auto scaling option. So click on info, it will show you here. So click on learn more. So then you will come to know about that, like, how it is going to. See, 5 GB. For example, you have taken 20 GB size, and out of the 20 GB, it got full. So how much it got full? So it have only 10% of allocated storage is there. So 10% of allocated storage is there, or else free storage space metric got triggered here. So then it is going to add either 5 GB or else 10% of current allocated storage, whichever is the greater, that one only is going to applicable. Right. So in that scenario, this storage auto scaling is going to work. So mainly for production environments, we are going to enable. For remaining environments, we don't enable that. So then scroll down. Availability and durability, as I mentioned, that we will discuss tomorrow. Connectivity. So in what VPC you want to run? So just to run this in our custom VPC, we discussed VPC first. So go and pick custom VPC. So then this is a DB subnet group. Just go with the create new DB subnet group. So then public access. When coming to this public access, whenever you are selecting yes to this DB instance, one public IP address is going to allocate and one route is going to open via internet. It depends on subnet also, of course. So, but 90% of the times we don't enable this public access. 90% of the times we don't enable this public access for security reasons. I'm going to give no. So then when I'm giving no, this database will be available for the resources that is in the same VPC. Outside of the VPC, resources cannot communicate. So if you have any database, if you have any web server in any other VPC, yes, you can enable VPC peering, then you can enable the communication. But for example, from my local machine, I want to get connected to this. Is that possible? Whenever it is set with no, no. RDS will not assign a public IP address to the database. Only Amazon EC2 instances and devices inside the VPC, the selected VPC, can connect to your database. Okay, so I'm going to select no. So then VPC security group, I'm going to create a new security group. Click on create new. I'm going to call this as a MySQL SG. Okay, and in what availability zone you want to run? I want to run this in AP South 1B. Okay, and what port it is going to open? Basically, MySQL is going to run on port number 3306. You can expand that and you can see that here. The database port is 3306. If it is a MS SQL, 1433 is the database port number. So I have opened 3306. So then it is going to run in AP South 1B. Now, how you want to get authenticated to this? So go with the password authentication. I'll talk about this passport and IAM DB authentication. So we can create a role and we can associate that role. We can create a policy and we can associate that policy to one of the IAM user. That IAM user also can get connected to it. That is what this option is. So we always go with the password authentication. So then additional configuration. So do you want to give any initial database name? So one database is creating here. So on top of the database, we are going to do you want to create any? See, this is our DB instance. So we have selected db.t2 micro. So some operating system is going to run that we cannot manage. On top of that operating system, we are going to get a database. So this database size we selected 20 GB. And by using one of the tool, we can get connected to this database and we can see what exactly happening. Right. So now when coming to this, so do you want to give any initial database name? So you can create multiple databases here, but by defaultly, whenever you are creating, do you want to give any initial database name? Then you can give. Okay, I'm going to call it as a my first DB is a name I'm giving. And just go with the, this is a database level options, DB parameter group and options group. Just go with the default option here. Just go with the default option. We don't have anything to select here. So then backup. So whenever we are creating a database, automatically backup is going to create whenever you enable this automated backups. So what happened whenever you enable this automated backup? When any major operation is happening on our database, automatically one backup copy is going to create. You manually no need to do anything. So if Amazon treated that, okay, this is some major operation, so then Amazon is going to create a database automatically. And when you enable this automated backup, if whenever you're creating a database also, Amazon is going to create a database whenever we create this database for the first time. So automatically AWS is going to create all the backup copies. AWS itself is going to create all the backup copies, right? So that is a backup. So most of the times for production environment and all, we are going to enable backup. Now, how many backup it is going to create? See, you are enabling backup. Whenever you are enabling a backup, then it is going to ask us backup retention period. What is this backup retention period? How many previous backup copies you want to keep? So we need to define in values of days. So maximum backup retention period is 35 days. So that means whatever the snapshots, again backup is nothing but snapshot only. How many snapshots created in last 35 days? All those snapshots will be available. If the snapshot age is greater than 35 days, it's going to delete automatically. And the default value is 7 days. So it is going to keep last 7 days backup copy. The maximum is 35 days only. Whenever you are giving 0 days, that is nothing but like, you are not enabling this feature. No backup copy is going to create, right? So I'm going to give 1 day. So whenever, like, any major operation is happening, or else whenever this particular backup window appeared, it is going to create a backup copy. So how many we are going to have last 1 day? How in last 1 day, how many backup copy snapshots created? Those all we will have here. Whichever is, like, whichever snapshot age is greater than 1 day, it's going to delete automatically. You manually no need to delete. And of course, you cannot delete automated backups. So I'm going to give 1 day here. Otherwise, this is going to take a lot of time. I'll explain you this. I'm unchecking this. And if you are enabling, what is a backup window? At what time you want to take this backup? If any no major operation is happening, still it will go and it will take a backup copy at 2 a.m. UTC, and the duration is 1 hour window. So that is a backup option. At moment, I'm not going to enable. It is going to take a lot of time. Monitoring. So we know that we have basic monitoring and we have detailed monitoring. We have basic monitoring and detailed monitoring. So whenever you're using detailed monitoring or enhanced monitoring, the only advantage is backup interval is going to reduce to 1 minute. Otherwise, it's going to be 5 minutes. So you don't need to enable this. We are going to get all the graphs for every 5 minutes. But whenever you're enabling this, you can check, you can set backup, monitoring granularity to even 1 second. For every 1 second also, all the graphs are going to be refreshed. So I don't require that. So I'm not going to select this. And DB level logs. So for example, at database level, you have some error logs, you have some general logs and some slow query logs. So if you want to enable, you can go and enable this. Like automatically these logs are going to created in CloudWatch logs option. And one IAM role is going to used for that. So if you want, you can enable that. Based on client requirement only, we are going to enable. So then maintenance. When coming to this maintenance, so for example, we have selected one of the particular version, MySQL 8.0.20. For example, 0.21 version came. Does it need to update automatically? Do you want to give that option to AWS? So if yes, enable auto minor version upgrade. Whenever you are selecting this option, when any new minor versions, not major versions, comes, AWS is going to update automatically, upgrade that automatically. At what time it is going to upgrade? At this particular time, at this maintenance window, at this particular maintenance window, it's going to happen. So this maintenance window and the backup window should not collide. Okay. And if you don't want to, then you can uncheck this. So if any new minor version comes also, nothing will happen. So manually we can do that. When coming to this maintenance window, for example, you decided to perform some modification on this database. You decided to perform some modification on this database. So you can perform the modification now, but that modification, if you click take effect immediately, your database will go down for some time and it is going to upgrade or apply that particular option. But I really don't want to take that chance now. Whatever modifications I perform on this database, I don't want to apply now. I want to apply all those changes in a particular maintenance window. In that case, we can select a maintenance window. Okay, generally maintenance window we took on Saturdays. So sometimes we do on-call support. Like, over the weekend, we are going to perform such type of maintenance task. So on Saturday at 6 a.m. UTC for 1 hour I'm going to take, or for 2 hours I'm going to take a maintenance window. We are going to inform all the clients, okay, this database is going to take some downtime from this particular time to particular time, right? So we are going to inform before about these maintenance windows. So then we are going to apply all the changes. You can apply changes now, but those changes are going to take effect or applied on our database here in this. I'll show you this one also. So then deletion protection. So this is like, instance termination protection. So if you want to, you can enable that. So then scroll down. So it should not show any pricing option. Then we are good. So then click on create database. Now we are creating a database. So now I want to get connected to this database. So this is a username. This is a master password, right? So for this database instance, for RDS instances, we won't get any IP addresses, just like ELB. For load balancer also, we won't get any IP address, right? But technically in backend, we can see the IP address and all. That is different, but we won't get any IP address. We will get DNS endpoint or database endpoint. Sorry, it's a database endpoint. We will get a DNS name. That DNS name we call it as a database endpoint. So by using this database endpoint only, we are going to connect to our database. If you want to generate a connection strings, or if you want to point to the database from your application, then we are going to use this, right? So this is going to take some time. So it's creating. So meanwhile, I'll prepare an EC2 instance where I can use to get connected to this instance, the RDS database. Now launch instance. So if you want to use MySQL, Amazon Linux 2 AMI, yes, you can. So you need to install, a couple of tools, MySQL tools, to get connected to this. And then you can use MySQL, then you can give -u, then username, P, then you can give the password and all. But initially I will show you with GUI. So if you have any experience, definitely you can use that command like Linux instances also. I'm taking Microsoft Windows Server 2016 base, click on select. And I'm going to take T2 micro. And I'm going to run this in my custom VPC where I want to connect to this instance from my local machine. So public subnet, I'm going to launch. Then click on next, 30 gigs. So then I'm going to call this as a jump server. Then click on next. So if you have any security group, custom VPCSG, yeah, I'm going to pick that. Then launch instance. Now, as I mentioned, based on this database, we need to install this tool. So as I'm using MySQL, I'm going to download and install Mysql Workbench within my jump server. So why I'm using jump server? As my database is running in a private subnet, I'm using jump server to get connected to it. That is the reason. So whenever you enable automated backups, no, it's going to take. Now it is available, it's ready. But whenever we enable automated backups, it's going to take approximately 30 minutes, 20 minutes minimum, right? So that's why I disable that. But definitely I'll enable that and I'll show you in our next session. So my jump server is not yet ready. Okay, it's in running state. And we can get connected to it. So let's grab the public IP address, but we just launched it now, so it's not going to be ready by this time. Then MSC, grab the public IP address, click on connect. So meanwhile, let's observe the security groups of this RDS and this jump server. So now, yesterday we have seen one question, right? Whoever is in my home network, only they should get connected to this jump server. Only whoever is in this particular network, only they should get connected to this jump server. and whoever is connected to this jump server, only they should get access to this RDS database, RDS DB instance. How I can modify that? Can someone answer to that? How I can modify? So how I need to modify this jump server security group?
I think you need to give this one public access to jump server.
But my requirement is whoever is in this particular network, only they should get access to this jump server. That's my first requirement.
You have to use
in the provide, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to define the NECL, right? In public subnet.
Why NACL come into the scenario here?
Because I have to restrict the traffic for other IPs apart from your home network.
Yeah, the scenario you're picking is completely wrong.
Okay.
What my requirement is whoever is in this particular network, only they should get connected to it. So in that scenario, how you are going to block the entire world? So in simple, open it for this open RDP to my IP address. That's
Your
it.
IP address, yeah.
That's it. Very, very simple. Don't make it much complex by getting into NACLs and all. So now whoever in this particular network, only they can get connected to it. For example, if I gave the username and password, can you get connected to this now? Can you take an RDP
No.
server? Definitely
No.
no. Why? Because security group. It's 389 is open for this particular network. So the requirement 1 is completed. Now, in the same, I am asking whoever is connected to this jump server, only they should access this database server. Now, how I need to modify? What security group I need to modify? Do I need to modify jump server security group or database server?
Database security group.
Database server security group. So at moment 3306 is open for this particular network. What I need to do? I am editing this now.
So you have to use the IP of your jump server if you want to enable just for the jump server.
Of the jump server. Yeah, we can pick IP of the jump server. But if I perform stop and stop, that jump server IP address might change. Then again, I need to come back and I need to modify this.
Yes.
I don't want to modify like that.
Instead of public IP, we can use the private IP or security group.
No, that will also change. Security group you can use. Yes, security group you can use.
Expecting that answer.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, as you guys mentioned, I can give this jump server public IP address, and even in organization that's going to be fixed. Jump server public IP address always it's going to be fixed. We use elastic IP address there. But the answer I'm expecting is you can give security group of your jump server. So this is the custom VPC SG is the one we have used for this EC2 instance. Custom VPC SG. So give security group of your jump server. If your IP address changes, no issue. If your IP address changed also, no issue. You're piping that information via security group. Okay, that's the best practice. We can do one more thing. Yeah, of course, as you mentioned, if public IP address, if you have a thought like, it is changing and all, yes, definitely you can give this private IP address also. You can give private IP address also. Okay, but I don't want to depend on IP address. So if IP address changes, if we don't have IP address, still it need to work. So then we can go with this security group mechanism. So I want you to answer this as a standard one. We can follow another one also. Simply open it for entire VPC 192.168.0.0/16. It will be open for your entire VPC. But what my requirement, whoever is connected to Jump server, only they should get access. So this option also we cannot pick here. So I'm giving that security group save rules. Okay. So that's the question yesterday we have seen. Got it, that mechanism. So now let's grab the password of this Jump server. So we got connected to Jump server and quickly we are going to install MySQL here in this machine. MySQL Workbench. So just disable IEHC as we want to download something from the internet. I've turned it off for administrators. So then close this, open Internet Explorer, go to Google. So download from the official website only. So mainly in Windows, I'll suggest you to download everything from official website only. So navigate to Google, look for ask me later, don't show this, go to google.com. So then look for MySQL Workbench download. So here is the official website dev.mysql.com. Click on that. So basically we have a prerequisite for this. So as this is a brand new server, Visual CPP redistributed package is not installed in this machine. So first you need to download that. So for that you need to go to this I symbol and these are the prerequisites. This one need to be installed. So without that, if you're trying to download and if you install, so we will land into an error. So I'll show you that. So I'm downloading this. Click on download. So instead of login and sign up, we have an option. No thanks, just start my download. Click on that. So now, do you want to save this? Yeah, I want to save this in my downloads folder. The setup file got here. So now I'm going to run the setup file. Double click, run. Next, next, complete installation. Next, install. Prerequisite, not really. So seems in latest version we got that. So earlier we need to download the prerequisite. For that we can go here and here Visual CPP. If you are getting that error, prerequisite failed, in that case in the same screen we have this I symbol, right? So go click on this Visual CPP. So then it will take you to visualstudio.microsoft.com. Then scroll down to the bottom in this page and somewhere here, yeah, Visual CPP redistributable package. download and install this. Very small tool. Just download and install. That's it. So if you are getting the prerequisite error, then follow that. So this is a tool where we can use to get connected to the database. So click on this plus symbol. See, the database is not running in this EC2 instance. We have using a small tool where we can connect it to the database. This is the MySQL Workbench, is the official GUI tool for MySQL. Click on this plus symbol. What is the connection name? So my app1 database. So standard TCP. What is the host name? So as I mentioned here, for our database, we won't get any IP address. We will get endpoint. Grab your database endpoint. Here is the endpoint. Grab that endpoint. Give that here. Then port number. It always runs on 3306 as a default port number. Username is admin. Then test the connection. Click on test connection. If it is prompting and if it is asking you to enter the password, that means communication is there. Okay, the password is Avinash123. Then click on OK. Successfully made the connection. Give OK. Here one connection got created. Now give a double click. Give double click and we got connected to this database. Here is the server status. Here is the server status. And here is a connection clients and what users you have within the database within the DB instance. We are using this user to get connected. This is the password. What permissions you have? So we have user admin permissions, security admin permissions, DB designer, backup admin permissions. So these are the permissions we have on this account. So we are using this to log in. So similarly, like we can create multiple users here and you can see the database dashboard. This is the dashboard of this particular database. Now here is the schema. Schema is nothing but database. While launching this RDS instance, we have given DB initial database name. My first DB is the name we have given, right? So that got created here, my first DB. If you want to create a new database or new schema, give a right click, create schema. What is the schema name you want to give? Test123. Then click on apply, finish. See here, test123 schema got created. So if you have any database table, and also basically I'm going to give a task now. So we have a sample table. Where is that? My SQL. I'll search for that. I'll share you. So basically, I want you to restore one schema here in this one. Once you got connected to this, I want you to restore the schema. Right, for that we have an option like data import or export, data import or restore. So from where you want to import, like you can import from .sql file. So you can just go and you can pick the .sql file where exactly it is, then you can import or export. So that we have an option. So you can directly take entire project folder or else you can import .sql file. So if you already have a database and if you want to, so then you can so go to the same tool, data export, what particular database you want to export, pick that. So then where is that options? So here, where do you want to export this or export as a self-contained file? So this is what my file name. So then click on start export. So it is going to create. So the export is completed. So you can take backup in another database. You can come back to this and you can import it. Right, that export and import at schemas level we can perform here. So basically that we don't perform. The application team, they are going to take care about those things and all. So, but just for knowledge, I'm mentioning that, right? So that is creating a schema and how we can get connected to this DB. So basically these database tables is not created within this EC2 instance. It's there in our RDS instance within this we have. So here you can find like, when the maintenance window is configured, auto minor version upgrade is enabled or not, like, the backup is enabled or not, how many snapshots you have, that we can find under maintenance and backup. Configuration. So DB configuration, what is the username, multi-AC is enabled or not, like, what is the storage, so that under configuration. Logs and events, so what exactly logging happening and what exactly events happening, that we can find here. So then monitoring, CloudWatch is a service for monitoring CPU utilization, how many DB connections, free storage space, how much storage space we have here. So by looking into this, we can tell, okay, this much storage is like, already utilized and all that we will come to know. So then free memory, writing IOPS, read IOPS operations on this database, connectivity and security, in what VPC it is running, and in what security group it is running, public accessibility is yes or no, and security group rules, and the replication we will talk about that in our tomorrow session. So that is the introduction to RDS. So now I'm open to all your questions on this RDS. So any questions for me, guys?
Avinash, I have two questions, one for the on VPC and one on RDS. So yesterday, actually, I have created the VPC pairing in two different accounts. Okay, and adding the pairing is successfully and add this CIDR and on both side on the account A and account B. And but the problem also, I have whitelisted the local IP in security group. But problem is, while trying to access as RDS SQL database, so it's not connecting. But if I whitelist the public IP, it's working. So I didn't understand where I getting wrong.
Okay, until unless I inspect your setting, I cannot give an answer. Like, just simply, I would like to see how you have configured. So then I can tell you.
Actually, it is on my office system and I can't share right now.
Do one thing, just pick couple of screenshots and share it in Slack. If it is a confidential, you can message me only, like, you can share that image just to my chart instead of our channel, entire channel. Just drop, or else take couple of pictures in your phone and just like, drop an email to my email ID. So I need like, your root tables, your
Yeah.
security group of your EC2 instance and security group of your database.
Okay. But what's your email ID?
I dropped that in our chat box.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. Suppose if we have SQL data RDS database in the single AZ. Okay, so how we can move on migrate in multi AZ?
First of all, we haven't discussed that. That is a tomorrow's topic. I'll take that question tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Avinash,
Yes, please.
yeah. How did you give that password, Avinash123, when you initially connect to the MySQL?
When I'm creating my database, that is the password I have given. So basically, why I pronounce that, if I forgot the password, I need to go and I need to modify, and that is going to take a lot of time. So whenever initially I'm connecting, click on create database. Here I need to choose either of one option here. So if we want to go with this auto generate password, we can select that. But instead of this auto generate password, what I did, I have given Avinash123 as a password here. So the same password I have used to get connected to this. So we need to give like a plus connection, plus symbol, then what connection name we want to give, the host name. Host name is nothing but the endpoint name. So then username, admin, then here is a test connection. Whenever you click on this test connection, then it will give a window where you need to enter the password. Otherwise, we have an option store in vault. When you click on the store in vault, it will ask you the password. So give the password here. Then click on OK. So now this is going to store. So here another connection came without testing. If I want to get connected, I can give double click and it will try to use that username and password and it will connect. So basically no connection is established. That's just a window. Why? Because in my local host, nothing is running. I have given 127. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Avinash, also going rather than going through this MySQL client, we can directly log into the AWS RDS dashboard and query the table from there itself, right? Like and that for that I don't even have to download any of this, correct?
Yes, but for this, like, you can depend on this query editor. So, but this query editor only supports Aurora serverless database. This MySQL won't support that. And basically, I want to show, like, I want to show you this schemas and all, like, in tomorrow's session, whenever I'm talking multi-AZ and all, I need to demonstrate that, right? So that's why I'm using this UI tool.
Yeah.
The reason for that is that, and first thing, second thing, whenever you have these credentials, you don't need to depend on this workbench from your, like, program itself. Directly, you can hit the database or like you can run all your queries.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I asked is I've seen like people log into the RDS, instant, like, the dashboard and click on RDS and directly query the tables from the console itself. And
Dynamodb, that's for Dynamodb. That, yeah.
Oh.
For RDS, we don't have. Only for this particular option. Whenever you are using this Aurora, that too within Aurora, we have a mechanism called serverless. Whenever you are using this particular feature, then only, so whatever the option you told, that we have here, core editor, we can use this feature. But this MySQL won't support that.
Got it.
Yeah.
Avinash, what is the root propagation and the age association in VPC?
I didn't get that question. Can you please repeat that or simplify that?
Yeah, a root propagation and age association in VPC. What is its function?
Can you simplify that for me, please? I didn't get that actually.
In VPC, there is the option in inside this root table is the root propagation and the age associations.
In VPC, okay, I thought it's in RDS. So you're talking about this root tables?
Yes, it is correct.
This root propagation, basically, whenever we are using this virtual private gateways. So then, whenever we are using this virtual private gateways, also the traffic flow is going to happen via root tables only. So in that case, this root propagation we are going to use. So it's going to whatever the entry we have here in this transit gateways. So those entries is going to update here automatically. So if you go through the video I shared for transit gateway, then you can observe a couple of records update here. So in transit gateway, whatever the transit gateway attachments we are going to create. So those attachments and you can find that here. So basically that feature, it's related to transit gateway. I can tell you if you ask me directly.
So this gateway also we are using for the VPC pairing, correct?
You mean transit gateway?
Yeah,
Yes.
virtual private gateway.
Yes. So instead of peering, we can use transit gateway, but whenever we have huge network, then only it's preferable to go with transit gateway and it's going to cost very heavily. First thing, for every single hour we are going to get charged, and it's like, you know, very, very advanced topic. So that's the reason I shared that video. And you won't get any questions in an associate tier until unless you go and attempt network specialist certification exam. You cannot expect any questions from this transfer gateway. Any other questions for me, guys?
And these age associations.
Similar to that, like, you know, we will talk about that edge locations and all. So if you want to associate this to any of the internet gateways and all, we can use that we will talk later. Edge mechanism.
Thank you.
I've never used that edge associations actually.
Avinash, whenever our on-premises database it is there, so whenever any OS level patches happening, so sometimes we have to stop our database as well. So in this case, when AWS is taking care of OS and everything, in that case also, if something patches come for OS, will that impact our database RDS here?
No. So we no need to worry about OS level patches here with the RDS. So that completely, see, we have only one connectivity option that you can connect to the database and all, but we won't get any option to see, like, you know, what exactly happening at like, you know, OS level and all, that we cannot. So only this, like, you know, what is the free storage, free memory, so what is the CPU utilization of that RDS DB instance. Apart from that, we won't get any chance to log into that OS level. So no need to worry about the patches. No need to worry about the, like, you know, only you will get an option to directly get connected and OS, no OS level operations here with RDS.
Okay. Thank you.
So any other questions? Difference between jump server and NAT gateway. Jump server is designed to get connected to your private subnet EC2 instance. NAT gateway is designed to provide internet connectivity to private subnet EC2 instance. For example, I have this RDS database. This is running in private subnet. Now I want to provide internet to these databases, or I want to provide internet to some of the private subnet EC2 instances. So having jump server won't satisfy that scenario. You need to create an NAT gateway, so then only you can, right? So I'll suggest you to go through the Saturday session. Then you will come to know what exactly NAT gateway is. Right? Okay. So whoever missed that session, please go through that, guys. We'll definitely think about like, you know, having session on Saturdays. So please go through that previous Saturday's recording video. All right. So for today, I want you to create 2 more subnets for this existing one. For this existing one, I want you to create 2 more subnets, that private subnets, and launch your databases, or else if you have same, also no issues. In place of these EC2 instances, launch an RDS instance here. Then try to get connected from the jump server. You can eliminate ELB for today. So tomorrow you can definitely add that. Okay. So launch RDS-DB instance and get connected. So if you don't just want to go with this MySQL Workbench, you can even pick any of the one, then you can give a try. But make sure you have this tool in that EC2 instance, then you get connected to it. So I'll suggest you to task as launch an EC2 instance in public subnet and install Workbench, MySQL Workbench, and launch an RDS instance in private subnet in same VPC, right? And get connect to the RDS instance from EC2 instance running in public subnet. Right? So pretty straightforward, whatever the one I performed. Right, so tomorrow we will go through some more options on this. So whenever you are trying to delete this RDS instance, so go here, pick it, navigate to actions, delete. Whenever you want to delete, it will ask, do you want to create a final snapshot? Not really required, uncheck, I acknowledge that. So then write delete me. So then scroll down, click on delete. Then it's going to delete. So and make sure you delete all the resources you created, EC2 and all. Right. So that's it for today's session. Okay. I got the database. I told you that I have a sample database here, MySQL sample database. I'm going to share this one. I want you to restore this database. So once this task is completed, task 2. So copy the shared sample DB to public subnet instance and restore it, or we call it as import. Restore or import it to RDS instance. So I'm going to share the database in our GitHub, that sample database. Here it is. Okay, so take that also as a task. Right, so that's it for today's session. See you again tomorrow. Thank you guys.